Hi there. I'm Jen Smith, the director of the Grow New York program. Innovation ecosystems, as strong as those that connect Central New York, the Finger Lakes, and the Southern Tier, don't just happen spontaneously. They reflect vision, cooperation, and a shared sense of self-determination. We want startups to thrive and thrive here, and so we invest in the systems of support that make that possible. As it's done for the Grow New York competition, New York State has invested in the development of incubation programs, economic development organizations, and research institutions that help entrepreneurs chart a course for success. Technical know-how, guidance in business effectiveness, equipment, space, workforce training, networking, all are abundant in our region. We put this program together with the active input of the Food and Ag working groups for the Regional Economic Development Councils in Central New York, the Finger Lakes, and the Southern Tier. We couldn't do our work without their active support, and we're grateful for their participation. In the next 45 minutes or so, we'll talk with a few experts about the economic development and entrepreneurial resources here in the region to showcase those resources for you and hopefully stimulate your ideas about how you can thrive right here in upstate New York. Thanks for watching.
In the last couple of years in Central New York, we've seen a huge boom in startups and innovation here. There's a lot of local support, there's a lot of funding being tossed around, and it's just really exciting to see. The Tech Garden is located in downtown Syracuse. We're Central New York's premier tech incubator. Our main goal is to help these startups scale and grow and become a part of our community. We are part of Center State CEO, an economic development agency and chamber of commerce in Central New York. Our members range from unmanned systems to IoT to clean tech to agriculture. So we provide a lot of opportunities for startups to come in, meet people, and really have this collaborative ecosystem.
Our programs have helped them invest at very strategic aligned points along their business development stage, whether it's from ideation, acceleration, incubation, or expansion. The Clean Tech Center is a NYSERDA initiative. It helps support clean energy sectors. It's a quicker business development program. It's more intense. So we want to make sure that teams are ready to go through that process. We let them ideate in the Tech Garden and spend time with some of the business development and customer discovery before we just work on product development. Another one of our programs is the CNY Innovation Hotspot from Empire State Development's NYSTAR program. It provides tax incentives to startups, formative stage companies that have been in business for less than 5 years and not yet getting any revenue. It charters us to convene incubators, accelerators, venture capital associations, industry associations, and business development organizations in one location every other month. And what we do is we strategize to align events, resources, and tools so that we're all collaborating to try to help benefit the startup. Our innovation partners come to the event and they can meet directly those partners and start a conversation. One of the most important things that entrepreneurs are looking for when they enter an innovation ecosystem is funding. We provide business competitions, we provide ways for them to be invested, even collaboration with investment organizations.
Genius New York is a 12-month in-residence accelerator for startup companies focused on developing technology in UAS or other unmanned systems, AI, IoT, and big data. During the 12 months in residence, we bring teams from all around the world who want to either start or grow their companies here in Central New York and provide programming, events, and resources during the course of that year to help them be successful in the long run and join our tech startup ecosystem. The first 12 weeks of the program, startup companies spend focusing on their business plan and finals night, where they pitch for the chance to win a $1 million investment, and the 4 companies that don't receive $1 million still receive $500,000 in investment. In return, they stay in Central New York for 1 year to develop and grow their companies. Genius New York is best known for supporting drone startups. We also work with companies developing technologies in other unmanned systems, AI, IoT, and big data. Our last $1 million winner, GeoPipe, in fact, creates digital twins of real-world environments suitable for the architecture, engineering, construction market, and video games. Already, Genius New York companies have gone on to raise $20 million in follow-on funding and support 180 jobs all around the world. There are investor networks and investor programs like Upstate Venture Connect, Upstate Capital, and Launch New York that are committed to help companies grow and be successful here. There's the ESD Smart Cities Initiative coming online. And lastly, the Syracuse Surge Initiative, which will help cement our status as New York State's flagship smart city. One thing we're very excited about is the ability of our Genius New York companies to go out and expand across New York State through some of our other innovation programs. Dropcopter, a Genius New York 2018 finalist, went on to be a 2019 Grow New York finalist, and we hope to see a lot more crossover events like that in the future.
Dropcopter has been with the Syracuse Technology Garden and the Genius New York program since 2018, when we got second place in their competition. We provide aerial pollination to help with fruit set in agriculture. One of the great things about being a Genius New York team is having a presence in the Syracuse Technology Garden. In our office, we're able to construct our pollinator and also do repairs on our fleet of aircraft such that they are ready to go for bloom time. After Genius New York, we had the kind of far-flung idea into a business product, but Grow New York allowed us to increase our fleet of drones and also increase our capacity to understand what kind of flights deliver the most profit for growers here in New York. The Cornell Extension team and the Cornell Institute for Digital Agriculture have been incredibly supportive teams to leverage the technology side of things with the business side of things, with the research and biological understanding of things to ultimately develop this new technology. So I would say that there are many opportunities to explore here in central New York.
I think it's really exciting here at the Tech Garden and the larger region to see all the innovation happening here. We have a lot of support from our ecosystem, and it's just going to continue to boom here. So if you have a startup, come to Central New York.
I'm Brad Treat. I'm the program lead for the Southern Tier Startup Alliance, where I'm also an entrepreneur in residence. So the Southern Tier Startup Alliance is an organization made up of individuals who all have the title of entrepreneur in residence. We have a group of people who all have unique entrepreneurial experience coming from different markets, different segments, different perspectives of background. Our mission is to support entrepreneurs to an 8-county region called the Southern Tier. The reason we support these entrepreneurs is because there's a significant amount of data that shows that the net new job growth comes from the new companies. And one of the most effective ways to support those companies is by providing them with reliable and experienced mentorship early on in the company's formation. And we've done a lot in helping people raise money through our connections and helping them get connected to capital. Since late 2016, we first started tracking these numbers. We've advised on over 117 deals. Those combined deals have raised over $102 million. That represents 71 unique investors. So these are professional investors, not angels or parents or anything like that. But 37 of those investors came from outside of the region. Some of those investors are now looking around at our ecosystem and in more than one occasion have invested in multiple companies in our region. So our westernmost incubator is Incubator Works. They're based in Painted Post, just outside of Corning. They're actually the oldest incubator in our region. Historically, they've had a focus on advanced ceramics, but under the leadership of Nancy Kirby, they've expanded that to include other parts of the community that historically have not been represented in the entrepreneurial community. That includes honorably discharged veterans, and also folks who qualify as what we call MWBE, that's Minority Women Business Enterprises. With support by Judy from the Schuyler County Partnership for Economic Development, they support over 40 entrepreneurial companies by providing services like wet labs, dry labs, secure space, access to unique materials for glassworking and ceramics. They've supported over 500 entrepreneurs, and one of the things that they've helped those entrepreneurs do is raise nearly $5 million to move their businesses forward. In Binghamton, New York, we have 2 strong incubators. The building is the Kaufman Southern Tier Incubator, and it has its own resources and content. Based inside there is the Southern Tier Clean Energy Incubator, which has a focus on companies with a clean energy mission. They're unique in that a company can be part of SCI, but may be physically located somewhere else and take part of their programming and resources. Both of these incubators operate out of a spectacular building, 35,000 square feet. That includes 33 offices, 10 labs, 11 co-working spaces, 5 meeting rooms, and that includes also a high base space for light manufacturing. The Binghamton incubators offer 5 main programs, and they boast over 50 member companies. That includes 20 clean energy companies. They've been successful in having 13 graduate companies. Last year, startup members raised $24.5 million in equity funding and also another $7.2 million in grant funding. The Kaufman Southern Tier Incubator has supported a number of food and ag startups through their programs. Parlor City Vegan is a vegan restaurant that does catering and has created a huge following for its vegan cheese. They have graduated from the Kaufman Southern Tier Incubator and are now operating out of their own brick and mortar restaurant and kitchen. Another graduate is Hector. Hector is an orchard management software. They are expanding their market here in New York, as well as in Washington State and in South America. They're currently adding some key members to their team this year. Another quick story about a Kaufman graduate is Endorphin. 2 students came out of their graduate program, came up with a unique protein shake, and even patented their own protein shake bottle that they helped develop while they're in the Kaufman. They've since graduated and are now 3D printing and selling this bottle to sports teams around the world. In Ithaca, New York, there are 3 incubators. 2 of them are focused on Cornell spinoffs. That's the McGovern Center for Life Sciences and the Praxis Center for Physical Sciences. And where I'm speaking to you from today is Rev Ithaca Startup Works. Based in downtown Ithaca, Rev is an incubator that integrates itself into the community. Over 40 member companies here becomes a focal point for entrepreneurial activity, entrepreneurial meeting, places where entrepreneurs can interact with each other. Rev is also the home of 3 accelerator programs. One is the hardware program. This is where somebody has an idea and wants to turn it into a product or prototype, whether it's 3D printing or laser etching, laser cutting, that they can put in somebody's hands, a physical product. The next one is idea to prototype. You've got an idea for a product. How do I make it? What does my customer need? How am I going to interact with them? And finally, the next phase of that is the product to production program. So now I've got a prototype that I put in people's hands. How do I now scale that up to a company that can manufacture on an ongoing basis? Last year alone, Rev member companies hired 136 new employees. They raised $21 million in new capital and generated $20.7 million in revenues. Rev has attracted a number of food and ag tech startups. I'd like to highlight a few. Antithesis is making delicious chickpeas that are covered in chocolate. So you get that healthy crunch, but that yummy chocolate flavor. CaproX was one of the money-winning finalists in Grow New York, winning $250,000 last year. CaproX takes the byproduct from yogurt production and turns it into valuable biofuels and bioplastics. New York Hemp Oil came to Rev with a concept. They've now grown to having tremendous demand for their CBD oil. The startup's founder, Carly Miller-Hornick, had the opportunity to pitch one of Rev's early networking nights. What she didn't know at the time was that in the audience was one of the key buyers from Wegmans. The buyer put Carly in touch with some key people in her company, and you can now find them as one of the first CBD oils on Wegmans shelves. Rev member company Complex was one of the $250,000 winners of the Grow New York competition in 2019. Complex came to Rev in 2017 with the goal of making a smarter beehive. Through customer discovery, they learned that a smarter beehive wasn't what beekeepers wanted, it was to get the mites off of the bees. And so Complex, through their connections, have developed a system to make a laser that'll shoot the mites off of the honeybees, making the hive much stronger. All the incubators in the Southern Tier work together. We're here to support entrepreneurship, especially food and ag companies who are part of the Grow New York program. We look forward to working with all of you.
Rochester and the Finger Lakes region has a long history of entrepreneurship and startup activity, going back more than a century. And as a result of that entrepreneurial DNA, the region's developed a robust ecosystem that nurtures and supports our entrepreneurs. Across the 9 counties, startups can tap into a variety of resources like incubators and accelerators. We also have a large number of ongoing workshops, boot camps, meetups, and networking events. which help connect that entrepreneurial community with one another, which is critical in having a vibrant ecosystem. Another key aspect is the availability of funding. We're fortunate that our region is home to a strong network of private investors, venture capital funds, and other grant and non-dilutive funding sources as well. And here in downtown Rochester, there's a growing innovation district with now nearly 200 technology and creative class companies. NextCore is a venture development organization that's at the heart of this entrepreneurial ecosystem. Our state-of-the-art facility is 40,000 square feet and serves as the hub of entrepreneurship with coaching, mentoring, co-working and private office space, and the ability to work alongside and learn from other entrepreneurs who share similar goals. Other amenities here in our incubator include a fully equipped prototyping lab with 3D printers, designers that can help you develop and build your products. We have wet labs and electronic labs for continued discovery and development. A staffed media lab for producing podcasts and videos and product photography. We have meeting and conference rooms for small discussions all the way up to large educational workshops. And of course, kitchen, rooftop, gaming facilities for networking and special events. Today, more than 60 startup companies are working right here at NextCore and taking advantage of our incubation services. Many additional startups are taking advantage of NextCore's business accelerator programs, which are also based out of our Sibley headquarters. Typically focused on an individual industry segment, they help accelerate the path to market for these companies with mentoring, funding, and other resources. With 80,000 students here across our 18 colleges and universities, there's a continuous stream of eager talent. Our two main research universities, the University of Rochester and Rochester Institute of Technology, bring in hundreds of millions of dollars of research annually and have labs and experts in a wide range of technology sectors. On the entrepreneurial front, the University of Rochester's Ains Center for Entrepreneurship fosters new partnerships with students, alumni, local businesses, and their student business incubator helps aspiring entrepreneurs launch new companies. At RIT, the Simone Center shows students how to take an idea from the beginning stages all the way through to commercialization, and RIT's Venture Creations Incubator and Center for Urban Entrepreneurship support entrepreneurs from small Main Street business to high-tech companies.
We will sit down with anyone with the passion, mission, or vision to create a business or social venture. And a lot of what we see are underserved business owners. We offer mentoring and one-on-one support. We have shared workspace, we have classroom space, we have meeting rooms. We offer general education programs, which would include workshops on various topics. We also have customized training. Our capacity building program is geared towards business owners that have been in business for a year or more, and they're looking to grow. In our Finger Lakes region, there's a lot of collective impact going on here. We work together very well. I feel like our service organizations complement one another.
Venture Creations is designed to help grow Rochester and grow entrepreneurship. We've got 30 companies in the incubator right now, all of them with spectacular ideas. And the question is, how can we help them with accounting? How can we help them with PR? How can we help them with sales? We offer some of the best coaching available, certainly in upstate New York. We've got incredible coaches, and the whole idea with the coach is not to consult, but to help them, hold them accountable with things that they're doing. And we find that that is a tremendous solution for helping these companies become economically successful as fast as we can help them. It's a great, great place. It's the place where it happens. And I love Rochester. The music is incredible, the arts are incredible, the restaurants are incredible, the social life is incredible.
We also have great agriculture. When you look at our wine region, we have a fantastic wine region here. And as a business, you have access to not just those regions, but you also have access to the talent that comes out of those top two institutions in our area. So when you think about what you can get by coming here, it's a one-stop shop.
While all these assets provide a strong platform for types of new businesses and new endeavors with entrepreneurs, it's really that collection of businesses and individuals working with a collaborative spirit to bring these new opportunities to life. Rockstarts.com, for example, is a platform that serves as a central hub for the latest entrepreneurial information, news, stories of startup progress, resources, and events. Also, we have a new platform called Nexus I-90, which serves a similar mission by making it easier for entrepreneurs to find the resources they need, plus includes personal navigators to help them select and find the right resources. Those who are innovating and working here are not just starting new ventures, they're part of something much bigger. They're part of our diverse community who are all here and ready to help them succeed.
Hey there. We're going to talk today with some panelists that were selected by the food and ag working groups in their respective regions to give us a look at efforts within Central New York, the Finger Lakes, and the Southern Tier to generate new employment, help retain existing jobs, and stimulate industrial and commercial growth through a variety of programs. So I'm going to ask each of the three of our panelists to go ahead and introduce themselves, share a little about their day jobs and what brought them here today. So Chris, let's start with you.
All right. Hi, I'm Chris Swazi, Vice President of Business and Workforce Development with Genesee County's Economic Development Center. My day job, again, split half of it between business development and the other half with workforce development. And we're really strategic on the agricultural industry. It's near and dear to our hearts here in Genesee County. It started with our industrial parks, and we have 8 industrial parks, and we call them food and tech parks. Our big park is our Genesee Valley Agribusiness Park. That really started us strategically to go after large companies with shovel-ready industrial sites. And on the workforce development side, of course, we all need workforce development. So I wear that hat 50% of the time and really driving a lot and listening to our businesses and understanding what they need and taking it all the way down to the K through 12 line. And we're really strategic in letting kids know about career paths that are in their backyard. So that's a little bit about it.
Super, thanks. Andrew, you want to say a few words?
Sure. Hello. My name is Andrew Fish. I'm the Senior Vice President of Business and Economic Development at Center State CEO. Center State CEO is based in Syracuse, New York. We're a 12-county regional economic development organization. We focus on holistic economic development, which means we look at everything from traditional job growth to community investment to workforce development, and really do that through focus on data and research. Like all of upstate, Central New York is no exception that it's a great agricultural region. We have a lot of value-added food processing, a lot of dairy facilities, and we also have recently had one of our very large controlled environment ag projects move forward in Madison County with over 100 acres under glass. A lot of focus on how there's the interaction between data and ag, both from the unmanned aerial system standpoint, with our focus there across Central New York and the Mohawk Valley, and also as it relates to really just taking information and turning that into making good decisions around both field-based crop production, how the dairy industry is advancing quite rapidly, and we've had a tremendous amount of investment across Central New York, which is why ag was one of our strategic initiatives, just like the other 3 regions involved in Grow New York. In the Upstate Revitalization Initiative. We're excited to be a part of this whole process and looking forward to really seeing how we can support these candidates for the Grow New York program.
Great. And Judy?
Hi. Thank you so much. My name is Judy McKinney-Cherry. I'm the Executive Director for the Schuyler County Partnership for Economic Development and the CEO for the Industrial Development Agency, which is the financial assistance arm of the effort. And it's a real pleasure to be able to be here with you. I am very pleased to say that we are sort of centrally located. I'm here technically, I think, to represent maybe the whole region, but I'll just tell you sort of what I do in my day job. We're working with startups. We're working with businesses that are looking to expand, and more importantly, those that are looking to sort of pivot and diversify. So we do a lot around innovation, and we literally are an innovative organization. So when we are working with a company, we're in the trenches with them, and it doesn't matter if they're a Main Street business or if they're a corporate entity coming in. We're very focused on hemp and everything related to hemp, as well as anything that ferments. So we have a very strong tourism economy, very strong wine, beverage economy as well here. And so anything that ferments, anything related to lumber, anything that's sustainable, that's where we're focused. So it's year-round, it's sustainability, and we're trying really hard to leverage the talent that we have in our educational system in the whole region. So we're very tied to what Cornell is doing, what RIT is doing, as well as our community colleges.
That's great. That's great. Wonderful to have each of you here to talk to the gang of finalists. And so you've had a chance to give a broad overview of what your organizations do. I'm interested in any particular programs that your organization supports and what kind of role your organization takes in nurturing business development and economic growth in your larger region. We'll talk about that before we get into some of the more general programs that are available in outside of your organization within your region. So for now, what does your organization contribute to the support of business development and economic growth that would be interesting for a startup to know about? And Chris, we'll start with you again.
Okay. Again, we're in the Finger Lakes region, supported by a Greater Rochester enterprise. So Genesee County, Batavia, New York is the hub. And a lot of things that we're doing to support everything from a startup all the way to attracting a large food processing company to the area. So in startup, we have a program we call locally called Startup Genesee. And Startup Genesee is a program that we do here in Batavia, and to help facilitate entrepreneurs and innovators. And we support them with business planning activities, as well as we have a Harvester Center, which is the world's first business incubator that's in Batavia, New York. And we kind of house our agri-tech center there. And we're able to take entrepreneurs, depending on where they are in their life cycle, and we'll plug and play them into our network. And we're fortunate being in Genesee County that we are part of the Finger Lakes region with some great support systems that we have at, of course, all our community colleges, RIT and GCC here in Batavia, as well as the Buffalo side of town. So there's some great programs that are around that we help support entrepreneurs. And then if you're a company that's looking to build a facility, Genesee County Economic Development Center is an industrial development agency. So we can help support projects if you're building a facility or expanding a facility with our traditional sales tax, mortgage tax, and property tax abatement programs, as well as we will tie into the state and regional utility programs as well. So depending on where you are, we have a lot of great support. And 8 shovel-ready industrial parks. Our big one that we're known for is our Genesee Valley Agribusiness Park, which is a 250-acre industrial park, which is shovel-ready. And what I mean by shovel-ready, we were able to get a site permit in 15 days. On day 16, the company that was building a facility started moving earth. So great opportunity there. We have some great companies already, HP Hood, Upstate Niagara, built facilities, and we're able to support them. And then great. Our other shovel-ready industrial parks are mostly in food and tech. So we have something as big as a 1,250-acre site for that. So,
Chris, I'm going to interrupt just to ask you, can you tell me a little bit about some of your colleagues, some organizations outside of your county, but also within the Finger Lakes, and what kind of resources they have, what other resources startups can tap into in the Finger Lakes region to touch on economic development?
Yeah, so all the counties' IDAs are tied into the food industry, food and beverage industry. So some great support systems with Nextport, for example. We also have a great resource at Greater Rochester Enterprise that's able to facilitate a lot of projects depending on where you want to be located within the area. And of course through Cornell as well, and their Agritech hub and spoke model that they have out of Ithaca. And then through local bank relationships. So there's a lot of opportunities with community banks that they're, Farm Credit East, for example, is another banking system that we highly recommend on the ag side. They're very supportive of entrepreneurs as well. And then working through the Small Business Development Center is another way, depending again where you are on your capital stack and writing a business plan. So those are a few things that come to mind.
Great. Tell me, the Small Business Development Center, where is that located?
The hub is in Brockport. There's spokes all throughout Rochester and in Batavia as well. So they have like a hub and spoke model.
Cool. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Andrew, same couple of questions. Can you tell me about, the kind of broad approach that Center State CEO takes in supporting business development?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned before, Center State CEO is a holistic economic development organization. We are actually member driven by our business members. And that's really resulted in us focusing on 4 primary areas of programming: our business development, our innovation and entrepreneurship, our economic inclusion, and our research, policy, and planning. Real quick, what those 4 represent: business development is your traditional economic development activities, such as working with companies, whether they're looking to expand or looking to relocate, helping them determine location, site selection, helping them get information about workforce and what kind of job, what kind of demographics they're looking for from worker perspective and employee perspective. Helping them identify the right types of incentives in their entire stack in terms of local assistance through the IDAs here in the region, working with the state to develop, state incentives, and even looking beyond that for, potentially workforce development training grants, things like that. So that's our traditional economic development work through business development. Innovation and entrepreneurship, finalists are going to hear a whole lot more about that. We run the Tech Garden in Syracuse, which is the largest incubator in upstate New York. And we run the Genius New York program out of there, which is another business competition focused on unmanned systems. But you'll hear a lot more about that program later. And then economic inclusion is really focused on community development and workforce development and helping connect displaced and disenfranchised individuals into our economy. One of the things that struck me through a lot of the both reviewing of the applicants and looking at past rounds is that, and also being a former food entrepreneur myself, there's a lot of times where many of you as entrepreneurs really have a social impact in mind. And so we recognize that there's opportunities for ag and food innovation to help solve some of the world's most challenging problems in terms of poverty and food deserts and those kind of challenges. So our economic inclusion team focuses on those areas, and then research, policy, and planning really focuses on following that data, looking at the metrics, understanding what the strategy should be, and how we can best leverage the assets and the strengths that we have as a region. So those are the programs overall that we run and that we use to support. We have a network that's really profound. We have over 2,000 business members, and that gives us the opportunity to really, connect individuals and startups and entrepreneurs into the ecosystem, help them find the right partners, help them find the right connections, whether it's to get a service that they need, or whether it's to form a partnership, or whether it's to solve a problem that the other business has already experienced. And so, those are some of the ways in which we really try and impact not just food-based entrepreneurs or ag-based entrepreneurs, but the whole ecosystem that we're working within here. To the second question, Jen, if you want me to just roll right into that. There is a tremendous network. Chris mentioned some of that in terms of the SBDC, which is an SBA-funded program. You're going to find that all across upstate. The SBDC partners with the SUNY system. So ours is located at Onondaga Community College. They also have a food processing educational program at Onondaga Community College. And then we all have wonderful resources across upstate in our cooperative extension network. So Cornell Cooperative Extension has a tremendous presence in every one of our counties. They have information, they have data, they have connections to the farmers. In addition to that, I'd mentioned the dairy industry. We've got very strong connections not only to the dairymen themselves, but also to organizations like Burn Dairy and Dairy Farmers of America and Hugo Milk Ingredients, which are all located here in central New York, that have both production operations and strong connections throughout. We've got great resources educationally. The SUNY Environmental Science or SUNY Environmental Forestry School. The college is affiliated with Syracuse University here in Syracuse. So just a lot of support and a lot of great minds that are trying to solve some of the challenges that we face in the world, but also in our region here. And then, finally, as it relates to some of the programs that are happening out there, there's a number of other initiatives that are that have some overlap. Syracuse University has the Center of Excellence that really focuses on clean energy systems. So anytime there's overlap there, and then SUNY Upstate also has the biotech accelerator. So anytime that you're looking at biotechnology overlapping with food and ag, there's opportunities here in the region to be supported in those efforts. So.
Great. Thank you so much. Judy, same question. Tell us about, what's going on in Schuyler County, but then more generally in the Southern Tier to help support startups in their participation in the economic growth of the region.
Sure. So, excuse me. So in Schuyler County, we have, we're a very strong tourism, natural resource county. That's what our economy is. And of course, the ag and the food comes into that. Very strong in cheese manufacturing. Very strong in, again, wine and beverages here as well. We also have burgeoning mushroom and other types of ag-related businesses. But I think what's probably most important is that when I think about what we do here, we partner with our companies, whether they are small or large, to realize their goals. So for an example, we had a company that is using chickpeas as an input, and there are no chickpeas being grown in New York. So we, as an organization, pulled together a group of folks and we planted chickpeas test plot. And so I share that because it's not just connecting businesses together, it's actually sort of putting our intellectual and our labor into it to make sure our companies are successful. So that's a great example of sort of how we do it. We really sort of roll our sleeves up and get in there and get it done. Some of the resources that we have in the region are really just incredibly deep and strong. So we have Binghamton University that's in Binghamton. There is the Kauffman incubator is located there. In Corning, New York, we have the incubator works. And certainly in Ithaca with Cornell in its back door, we have REV. And those three incubators, between the three of them, cover anything that any sort of a startup, whether it is ag, high tech, clean energy, anything they could need, they're going to find what they need there. We also have a great resource called the Southern Tier Startup Alliance. It is phenomenal. So this is access to experts in very specific areas that a business needs to be successful. So we have access to those as well. We also, and I'll just say this, in terms of what's unique about the Southern Tier is because we are part of the Appalachian Regional Commission, part of their region, we have access to additional federal funds and additional programs that a lot of the other part of New York does not have. So we have a very nice additional sort of set of resources that are available. So again, I just think, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this other than to say that the region is a long region. It covers 8 counties, and in that region, ag stands out as one of the most important anchor industries that we have. So, but what's wonderful about our region is because we have these core areas that are sort of urban, we also have a great connectivity. What I would say is really an asset that we have is we have the ability to know how to connect existing businesses with new businesses. And we have a real understanding of how the cluster and how the supply chain should and can work. And so when you add the fact that you've got this connectivity between a new business, an existing business, and then you layer on top of that the education, the K through 12 piece, grade school, apprenticeships, and then the training programs, and then the 4-year schools, and then the research that's being done in those schools, it's a complete picture. So I'm very proud to be part of the Southern Tier.
That's wonderful. Great. Well, I want to close out by asking each of you to share a kind of case study, a success story of a startup that has put down roots in your region. I'm going to start with you, Andrew. Want to tell us?
Sure. So very apropos for those of you watching that are finalists this year for Grow New York. I'd mentioned the Genius New York program, which is a business plan competition that's finishing up its 4th year here in Syracuse in central New York. And winner in round 2 for that program was a company called Dropcopter. Came in, used the accelerator to start really launching its product. They do pollination through drones. And so everything from fruit trees, almonds, anything that needs pollination, the drone is able to do that, to provide that service. And the entrepreneur and the founder was really interested in advancing this because of the challenges that we're facing in the world in terms of the loss of the honeybee populations, and trying to see if it could be done effectively and efficiently. Between the time that they were going through the Genius New York program and in the accelerator till the time that they actually applied in the first round of Grow New York, they were doing some test cases with local orchards. They were really perfecting and working on their technology and their application process, really honing in on what they needed to do from the pollination standpoint, and where they were sourcing the various things that they needed for that product. And they were successful in the Grow New York program last year, and they are continuing. They continue to be in Syracuse. They continue to grow. Recently, post the Grow New York award, they actually have just launched a partnership and are working collaboratively with a company out of Israel that is a drone service provider, meaning that they actually will do the operations for companies, and they're kind of the middleman between the farmer, the producer, and Dropcopter, who has the technology and the platform. And that has actually helped them to grow exponentially. And that was a connection that was made again through efforts that we have here with business development, going to Israel, talking to some of those companies about the unmanned systems industry, bringing them here to see the ecosystem. And we just happened to be in the tech garden at the same time, a chance encounter. We introduced them to Dropcopter at their request, and that has really formed a strong partnership there. So it's exciting to see examples like that take place, and hope that the same will happen with many of you that are watching this here that are the finalists this year.
Great. I love the tie-in to last year's Grow New York winners. So, Judy, can you give us a case study of a successful startup in the Southern Tier region?
Well, I can. I think what I'm going to do is sort of give you first sort of a little bit of example. And it was brought to mind because one of my colleagues here on the panel said it, and that is co-packing. So co-packing can be very, very important, especially for a new company. And so one of the items I actually neglected to mention earlier is that we had this great co-packer right here in Watkins Glen, and it's run by a nonprofit that hires disabled and those with higher needs to run. And it's a co-packing facility that can do sauces, they can do dry pack. They are just phenomenal, and they're doing work for companies all over the country. So we're really pleased that we have that as a resource. In terms of the region and giving you a great example, I'd like to just point to a wonderful startup that is growing phenomenally, and that is Agzite. So this is a vertical farming entrepreneur. Jim is just a fabulous president and CEO of that organization. And what he's done is he is taking old buildings that have been unused, and he's doing vertical farming. So he's growing vegetables and making them available for fresh vegetables to the city, and to other places. And he's also sort of moved and diversified into hemp as well. So it's a great story. He's growing phenomenally. He has incredible support from the Department of Ag, from the state, and certainly from us locally. So we're just really proud of what he's doing.
Great. Thank you so much. Chris, how about you? Any success stories you want to share?
Yeah, we have a great one in the region in Wyoming County, New York Chips. New York Chips is a vertically integrated opportunity that happened, that started up, which is pretty cool. That instead of taking potatoes and taking it to a potato chip factory, they did it right on the farm. So that's what's really cool about that opportunity, vertically integrating and utilizing the resources right from the land right into the operation. We also have New York Craft Malt, another cool opportunity with of course the growing microbreweries around town. New York Craft Malt malts for brewers all across New York State. They're located in Batavia, New York. A great opportunity that again, some of the inputs for the microbreweries was founded there. And then the last one is our co-packer, Coach Tony's. Again, a great opportunity for people that have sauces and recipes to start to do a startup with a co-packer. And a lot of times those arrangements aren't made because companies are too big. And this is a small company that really takes on a lot of opportunities for startups. So those are the three things that come to mind in the region.
Super. All right. Well, Central New York, the Finger Lakes, the Southern Tier have a real robust, deep ecosystem of support for, entrepreneurs of all stripes, especially those working in food and ag. It was really helpful to have the three of you highlight some of the special services and organizations that exist and some of the success stories from the region. It's just a taste of what's going on here in the Grow New York region. I'm very grateful to each of you for giving us your time this morning. And, thank you and have a great day. Our hope is that the conversations you heard here spark further curiosity about the region and ideas about how you could prosper here. Special thanks to the group of people who gave their time to talk with us about what makes the Grow New York region a productive ecosystem for startups looking to scale up. Thanks again for joining us.